The Chicago Bulls, after winning their first game in March, have now lost their second game in March. And for me, in considering the schedule that's on the horizon for the Chicago Bulls, I have to ask, are we in for another historic losing streak to end the season for the Chicago Bulls? And then we're going to talk about more injuries and what to expect moving forward. And then we're going to take the temperature on the newcomers of the Chicago Bulls after we had a decent sized sample size of watching them play for the squad. Y'all know we're going to talk about it, break it all down, but you got to hear the music first.
Cognac, gang.
Shy Boys Podcast with the Cognac Boys. I'm Cognac Boy Bobby, and I'm holding it down on today's daily episode. So if you enjoy talking Bulls basketball and trying to put our heads together to try to figure out how we can make this team much better and save us from just not caring, make sure you go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel as we try to do our best to try to provide some insight over here to how the hell we can turn this thing around for our Chicago Bulls, because we deserve much better than what we have been given. But hey, the Chicago Bulls took a loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder yesterday, and that was their second game in March. We won our first game in March versus the Milwaukee Bucks not too long ago, but we took a loss yesterday, and there was a number of things that came into play. Did I expect us to go out there and win? I don't know how I felt at the start of the game. I guess I'm pretty numb to the wins and the losses right now. For my people that's in favor of the tank, they like, yes, keep losing the games. And I can't be mad at them. I just want to see the Chicago Bulls compete. And then whatever happens at the end, whether it's a win or a loss, I won't apologize for wins. I won't get ticked off for losses. I'm kind of numb at this particular moment. But I'm asking this question right here. Are the Bulls setting themselves up for another historic losing streak simply based off what transpired in February? In February, these guys went 0-11, and that was their longest losing streak since 2019 when Jim Boylan was the head coach. And considering how many injuries we have right now, the lack of continuity or chemistry that we have right now, the not so good coaching that I'm seeing right now, and just not enough talent on the Bulls side, I have to ask the question, are we in for another long losing streak for the Chicago Bulls? And I believe it's absolutely possible. And in fact, we got guys at Bleacher Report reporting that the Chicago Bulls, with their remaining 20 games, they believe the Chicago Bulls are only going to win 6 more games out of the 20 to end the season. And I can see that kind of being or holding some type of truth. When you look at the last 20 games, we got games versus a lot of teams that are in the current playoff picture. Teams like the Phoenix Suns, the Golden State Warriors, both Los Angeles teams, the Toronto Raptors, Cleveland Cavs, Houston 76ers, so on and so forth. And if you do look at some of the teams that the Bulls could potentially get wins versus, like the Memphis Grizzlies, who should be tanking, and then you look at the Sacramento Kings, who's one of the worst teams, if not the worst team in the NBA, and then you're looking at the Indiana Pacers, all those teams, including a couple more like the Washington Wizards and the Dallas Mavericks, including the Chicago Bulls, we might be fighting for draft positions. While the other teams that the Chicago Bulls are going to be playing starting on Thursday when we hit the West Coast, those teams are going to be fighting for playoff positioning or trying to get an advantage if they have to go and play in the play-in. So it's just one of those things to where, like, man, look, I understand that nobody really likes losing. I know there are some people that are on the side of, hey, let's lose as many games as possible. But losing streaks, just setting the mark, it's definitely something that I don't take pride in if I'm keeping it real. Like, I don't mind losing games at this particular moment, but when we set a historic records or making people say this is the longest losing streak since 2019, or if this is the longest streak in Bulls history, it just doesn't rub me right as a competitor. Again, I do understand the landscape and the thought process of why you have to lose as many games as possible to increase your draft positioning. But it just don't feel right with me to say that the Chicago Bulls is on an 11-game losing streak. The Chicago Bulls early in the season was on a 7-game losing streak. It just don't feel right because I feel like myself covering the Chicago Bulls, putting in the extra work with some of my guys and my fellas that come in support. You know what I'm saying? And we rocking in lockstep. And then I'm bringing in guests, trying to keep the energy up. And then you all showing up and showing out for this team. I get pissed off because we all deserve better. Chicago is much better when their sports teams act like they give a damn. That's my only position. I will not apologize for a win, but I'm not gonna get mad at losing either. At least right now, as it stands. Again, I just don't like the thought of saying it out loud that the Bulls lost 11 in a row. The Bulls have lost their 5th game in a row. Those type of things don't rub me right as a fan, and I hope you all feel the same way. I know there are some people that are gonna place the tank at the top of the list and say, "Man, I don't give a damn. Lose as many games as possible. We need a stud in here." And I'm not saying you're wrong. It's just saying that as a competitor and as a fan of this team, I can't stand this shit, and they need to turn it around ASAP. Real talk. That's what I'm saying. They need to turn this shit around ASAP. I know it's not coming in at this early part of 2026, but at the latter part of 2026, we better be moving in the right damn direction with some better talent, money spent well over the offseason, and a emphasis on playing the best people and having a better brand of basketball. Because schematically, this shit sucks. Schematically, it sucks. Talent wise, it sucks. And a lot of people can be better, including our head coach and this front office. But hey, enough of that. Let me know how you feeling about the Chicago Bulls. Do you see them going on another historic losing streak? Let me know your thoughts and everything down below. Now we're going to go ahead and switch gears and talk about the injuries that are adding up for the Chicago Bulls, man. Yesterday, we seen Josh Giddey look like he twisted that ankle, and he did. And then we seen Josh Giddey, Montes Buzelis, excuse me, Josh Giddey and Montes Buzelis, both of those guys go out there and twist their ankles. And Montes Buzelis went straight to the locker room, came back, sat on the bench. Josh Giddey came out and actually damn near finished the game. That's something I'm like, bro, what are we doing? I think we should be, again, we going back to, I respect the competitiveness. I'm not trying to take away from that. However, let's not be fucking stupid. Josh Giddey was not supposed to return to this basketball game. That's just how I'm personally looking at it. And now more injuries are piling up alongside guys like Anthony Simons, guys like Anthony Simons, excuse me, Jalen Smith, now Josh Giddey, now Montes Buzelis. And Montes Buzelis after the game is saying that he's hoping that he can play because he doesn't like to miss games, which I respect wholeheartedly. But this season is lost, Montes Buzelis. I'm not going to go out there and disrespect you and say that you should fake injuries or anything like that. I don't believe in disrespecting you like that in that regard. But I will say it ain't, if that foot ain't as clean as possible or as good as possible, don't force the issue. This is not a playoff moment. This is not a key moment for playoff positioning. If we were in that position, I would absolutely be on board with you playing, and let's just say, for the sake of discussion, 80%. But we're not in this position right now. The season is lost because a bunch of dumbass mistakes that our front office has placed out there for us fans to go out there and just watch. The shit is frustrating. And I know you're frustrated with losing. You already told us. And Josh Giddey, my man's ain't been playing the cleanest brand of basketball, but I will say he's been all right. And it ain't even worth it for you and your sake, to be honest with you, to go out there and play these games. To me, the emphasis should be not faking injuries, but if a guy's not close to 100%, the guy should not be playing in favor of these young guys that are on the team who we're still trying to figure out who the hell is going to be able to stick around right now, because it's not feeling really, really good when discussing some of these players on this basketball team who we're like, yeah, you're receiving more opportunity. No, we're not really ready to make or draw conclusions on who you are or what you will be. But some of some of the things that's been displayed on the basketball court is just not one of those things that we've been really excited about, even with all these newcomers. And what's next? I don't know. Like, it depends on the severity of the ankle injuries. They'll both guys receive some treatment after the game. Now, if this is something that is going to keep guys out for the next 2 to 4 weeks, just shut them down at this point. I don't think that the Chicago Bulls will go that route, but that's something that I would strongly consider if this is a quote unquote high ankle sprain, for an example. I'm not a doctor. I don't try to act like I am, and I don't really want to be. But if this is a injury that's going to keep a player out for 2 to 4 weeks, just shut them down for the remainder of the season. Just let those guys get as healthy as possible and look forward to playing next season. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm not trying to, act like that's going to happen. But if a trainer comes to me and say that, yeah, this is a 2 to 4 week thing, I would elect to just shut him down. Me, period. Like, what would be the point of bringing Josh Giddey and Montes Buzelis back after 4 weeks of inactivity? It makes no sense to me, but we'll see what ultimately happens. Montes Buzelis is a young basketball player. Typically, those guys heal a lot faster. Same thing with Josh Giddey, but Josh Giddey has been dealing with lower leg injuries all season long. So he got been dealing with injuries all season long. So what will be the decision? We don't know yet, but if we find out anything, man, we'll be right here to first let you know on Shy Bulls Podcast. Now, before we get up out of here, I want to talk about the temperature of the newcomers, man. How we feeling about them? I want to know from you all. How y'all feeling about the newcomers? That's the Rob Dillahans of the world. That's the Nick Richards of the world. That's Colin Sexton of the world. All those guys. I ain't feeling too good about him. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Only one I feel good about is Yabusele, but I think he's gonna, the way he's been playing in the Chicago Bulls uniform, I think somebody that's more in a space to compete, that's the team that he'll be going to. He been hooping ever since he got here. That's just what it is. I feel good about him. It'll be good to have his veteran leadership in the locker room, but to Steve-O's point, when me and him talked about it last night, the way he's playing, he can help somebody. And I'm not saying go out there and be the ultimate catalyst to help that team and propel them to championship aspirations or give them championship aspirations. But Yabusele, he a baller, man. And he make things happen. He might be a bit undersized when it comes to height, but the girth of the man, pause, in size and muscle, bro, move mugs out the way. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things to where I like what I see out of Yabusele. When it comes to Nick Richards, it's a mixed bag, bro. I would say I ain't feeling too high on him. I say about like a 5. It's 5 or 6, and I'm just being generous if I'm saying a 6. When it comes to Nick Richards is a guy, he'll go out there, catch a crazy alley-oop, yam it down, but then you like, damn, what are you doing on the basketball court? So I'm not really so high on him. And I'll be honest, moving on to Rob Dillingham, it's a mixed bag with him. I'm not ready to count the kid out. I believe the Chicago Bulls will have him still in the building just to see if he can go out there and do a number of things correctly. I'm not ready to go out there and completely kill him and draw conclusions because he's so young of a player who received such little playing time in Minnesota and now is coming here and has had some opportunities, taken advantage of some opportunities, made some mistakes, but I think that's expected with a guy that has not had a lot of experience. So I'm not ready to say he's good enough or he's bad enough. I'm going to just say my temperature on him is probably like a 6. That's it. Like, you see some good moments and then you see a lot of bad moments. Like yesterday's game, for an example, you see Rob Dillingham go out there and do a tween, step back 3. It's cash. Then you go out there and see him run up the damn basketball court and hit the ball off the back of his heel. Like, what? What are we doing? And then you see him not be able to understand where he needs to be on a particular play when the Chicago Bulls would get down the court. He's so close to Josh Giddey, he messes up everything. So it's just one of those things to where, like, man, I don't necessarily know how I should feel about this kid. So I'm going to just chalk it up to the game and say I give him a 6 if we're going on a 1 to 10 scale. Colin Sexton, he plays extremely hard, man. I like how College Sexton has played, at least for the most part, when it comes to effort. But he does a bunch of bonehead stuff too. But the crazy thing is when he make a mistake, he comes right back and make a good play. That's the craziest shit ever when it comes to him. But I don't believe he returns to the Chicago Bulls, man. That's just that's my personal opinion. We'll see what happens with that. Anthony Simons, I say I like him. I like him as a hooper. I think he can add some scoring to the Chicago Bulls, but he's another Chicago Bulls player that I believe is just going to walk for a better opportunity like Yabusele. When it comes to Jaden Ivey, I'm a bit disappointed. I don't have the greatest feeling for him because I haven't seen him. And the last time I did see him, he was talking like a man that was defeated. And that's not what I want from a young player that needs to, reinvigorate himself, reinvent himself, show us what you really made of. And heading into restricted free agency, it might be a good thing that he ain't playing that much because the Chicago Bulls can give him an Ayo Dosunmu deal. That's the only positive when it comes to the Jaden Ivey stuff. The Chicago Bulls really can just let him test the market and just give him the quote-unquote $7 million. It might be a little more than that they gave Ayo Dosunmu. So it might be a benefit to him not playing, but that's not good enough for the people that want to see if this guy can get to where he was before he got injured. So it's just one of those things to where you like, all right, bet, man. And then Leonard Miller, I have not seen enough to go out there and say I feel good about him either. I'm not trying to be pessimistic, Pete, but at the same time, I guess it was all for the better. I don't know. That's why it's just bad. I wish I had a time machine. What old girl say? I wish I had a time machine because I don't even want to watch the last 20 games. I'm being real with you, but I will be watching. I will be right here rocking out with We're going to go out there and try to finish this season strong. We're going to go through the hard times with you all. And we hope that y'all show up with us too, at least have some damn fun trying to, just talk to each other and talk about a number of other things while we might see some good things out of some of these young players. But I'm hoping we can get Jaden Ivey, out there for at least 10 games, bro. Can we get you for the last 10 games of the season to see how you play? And then we can, I want to see these young guys play, develop, get better and better and better. Because Rob Dillingham, going back to him, there are times to where he's a bit erratic. There are times to where you be like, damn, why you pass the ball like that? There are times to where he takes a 3-point shot and be like, why did you take that shot? So I want to see the kid get better and better and see if Billy Donovan or the kid is going to follow Billy Donovan's instructions. So that's all I want to see. I want to see these young guys hoop. I know what Josh Giddey's going to bring. I love what Montes Ellis is going to bring. I want to see the young guys hoop, man. Let's see the young guys hoop so we can say, all right, man, you absolutely got to keep player X. Or if we just sweeping everybody out the damn door, then it's all for nothing except for a bunch of second-round picks, man. Shit's crazy. But, hey, that is it for me today, y'all. I appreciate y'all for tuning in to another episode of Shy Boys Podcast. Before y'all get up out of here, man, make sure y'all hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell as well, man. We appreciate y'all for the continued support, man. Make sure you always see red, or at least try to, and y'all already know. I'm going to catch y'all on the next one, for sure. Peace.
Cognac. Gang.